be able to join Sandeep Bhai. Can I request anybody else to take the lead? Chandra Vikas?
Hmm.
Yeah, so I'd like to share that I first read about Professor Madhav Gadgil when the Kerala floods happened, and he had given ample warnings for the ecological destruction to be stopped in an eco-sensitive area. Sanjay, as you are aware, I work at the macro level. So my construct essentially goes that economic development that is defined as antagonistic to ecology is a continuation of colonization, and unless we delve at the higher level of colonial erasure, as long as we keep defining development as the way it is,
Mhm.
ecology will continue to be damaged. And at some point of time, we must be aware of what's called the Seneca effect, the precipitous collapse at the other side of the bell curve. And with the failure of the 30th COP in Belgium in Brazil in December, we are very much there because there is no fossil fuel phase out agreement. And the with the wars and genocides, hotting up in 30 plus flashpoints, and every
Mm.
country, including Europe, is now escalating its military budget. So the attention of the sovereign nation states, which control the strings, is moving far away from ecological regeneration. And unless India uses its BRICS presidency to mobilize global South and corner the rogue criminal terrorist state of America, we have no chance to venture into ecological regeneration. So I think I've just laid a preamble. If people here agree that the Article 6
No,
of
does
UN
that mean,
Constitution.
Chandra Vikas, that
Yes.
Dr. Madhav Gadgil was far ahead of his times and he is actually seen? Because I think most of the things that is recommended in his reports seem to align with this issue in the sense that he was talking of sustainable ecological development as well as a planned way which was driven out of his intelligence and his education, though even though from the Western system, but it was something that was acceptable and also has been, in fact, he worked with the communities towards the end of his life and has worked very closely with the communities to gain acceptance. So, do you
Uh,
mean to say that it
Sanjay,
becomes all the more relevant now to accept and get Dr. Madhav Gadgil's report out in the open so that everybody could appreciate and adopt it? Is that what you're trying to convey?
his stature was so tall in contrast to the very poor data collection that we have otherwise in India. He brought
Mhm.
in precision, he brought in method to ecological
Right.
accounting. And if you combine this with global projects like ecosystem services project of Pavan Sukhdev, what
Hmm.
the world essentially needs is new yardsticks. You know, a new narrative which
Okay.
doesn't put ecology at loggerheads with economic development. I mean, how much more will we keep consuming when we are essentially cannibalizing not only the future of our children but our own present. Imagine in so many cities in India, sewage is getting contaminated with drinking water pipelines. We are not able to fix Delhi air pollution and in 90% of India. So the point is that we have already hit the rock bottom with respect to what we call as economic development, and it's actually become almost like a derangement, a kind of mass psychosis, which still deludes us to believe that we have further developed since the last 30-40 years particularly. I think 1991 economic liberalization was the
This
watershed
meeting is
moment
being recorded.
when
Right.
we were told that we were progressing but we actually regressing, and life has been significantly declining. If you look at the air quality, if you look at water quality, if you look at food quality, look at education, health, culture, everything has point on point declined. The only thing we have is some more technological wizardry, but you can't eat and drink that. And like the indigenous people say, when the last tree is cut, when the last fish dies, and when the last river is poisoned, you understand you can't eat money. I think Dr. Madhav Gadgil kind of epitomized this this thought, this narrative better than anyone else, and he did it in a very scientific manner that sets an example for all of us to pursue, and make his death as a uniting moment, not just for India, but for the entire world, and to turn around. Thank you.
Thank you, Chandra. I agree. In fact, that exactly, I think, what most, if one has read through Mr. Dr. Gadgil's reports, one would actually glean the same from that. Welcome, Preeti. And Ranmal, would you like to say something? Please go ahead. Unmute yourself. Ranmal, you're not yet unmuted. Unmute yourself, please. No, not yet. Ranmal, there you are. You are unmuted now. Yeah, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I met Madhav Gadgil way back in 1982.
Wonderful.
In Ahmedabad, I was working with Kartikeya Sarabhai on a social forestry project. And Madhav Gadgil, Kartikeya Sarabhai, uh, uh, Inspector General, Director General of Forests, Gadgil, uh, uh, Gadgil, not Gadgil, Dalvi was there. And we were traveling in South Gujarat looking at social forestry. And I questioned Dalvi about eucalyptus. And he says, what's wrong with eucalyptus? And Kartikeya says, how can you ask him? He's the Director General. How can you ask him? And Madhu Gadgil said, no, he's asking a very relevant question.
True. Hmm.
That's the only time I met him. I know Ram Gua very well.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
what would you like to share in memory of Madhav Gadgil and whatever little interactions that you've had with him, Ranmal, along with your initiative that is underway today, as well as the manifesto and the ecological initiatives that you have
yeah,
taken?
well,
How well are they
I was
aligned?
very young. I was very young then, but he
Okay,
was far ahead of his times.
true.
Yeah, my
Okay,
manifesto is about sustainable development.
true, exactly. So that's why how much were you inspired by Madhav Gadgil's
No,
inputs in your manifesto that you have created?
not much. I have had many other influences since then. But
Okay,
Madhu Gadgil was somebody who was way ahead of his times.
true. Okay. Thank you very much, Ranmal.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Uh, Father John, Father Edwin John, would you like to say a few words from the Tamil Nadu perspective? Karaikudi, you're sitting in Chennai.
Yeah. I should say I don't know that much about his contributions. I was happy to get to know when Sanjay alerted about his death. So I'm happy to know more about it, but I'm deeply involved in the environmental issues, not to the level of his contribution, but I am in a kind of organizing from below a network for environmental action, both child-led and adult-led. This has been my work. So there I stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Edwin. Uh, the floor is open. Anybody else? Girish, Selvi Ganesh, Jogan Sen Gupta. kindly raise your hands, unmute yourself, and you could share a few words.
Sanjay, why don't you say something about your interaction with him?
My interaction was very short, and actually it was more when I had set up the Center for Climate Change way back in 2009, and it was more on email. And thanks to Center for Executive Education, Center for Environmental Studies in Delhi, with whom I actually initiated and had a program that went on to meet through the Andhra Pradesh government, Jairam Ramesh, as well as the looking at factoring in the carbon footprint initiatives that actually could be measured on some of the so-called development projects, as well as used to evaluate and promote additional development projects as and when they would be coming up. So I have not known him personally, and most of my knowledge about Dr. Gadgil is only through the readings, and I have in fact not had the honor, no, not had the occasion, as well as the motivation to have read his entire report. To be very honest, I would now, hearing all these things and listening to all the people, would like to go through his reports all over again to be able to see how I could possibly use it going into the future, is all I could say. But I was looking forward to any of the senior people who are here, who have joined in today's call, to actually share their memories in case they have interacted, or if they have used any of the ideas that Dr. Madhav Gadgil had presented in their individual areas of work. So that is where I would like to say, and that's where I would like to stop for the moment. Otherwise, there is a wonderful recent talk on News Minute that Dhanya has done with Ramchandra Guha, who has recalled the entire experience that he has had with Dr. Gadgil, and that is available. What I will do is I will possibly share the link on the chat of this Zoom call, as well as and when I can, when I get the occasion, share a few of the thoughts that have been expressed by Ramchandra Guha after most of the other people speak. So that's where it is.
That would be great because Ramchandra Guha was very intimately involved with him.
I know. That's what he says in his talk as well. And I would recommend everybody here. I will share it also on the chat as I promised. And in the meanwhile, anybody else would like to say something? Mr. Ramdas? Mr. Varghese, Joseph. I think a lot of work has been done which has been adopted by Kerala. Would you like to share some of your experiences from there? Yeah, Sagar? Correct. Why don't you say a few words about that, or shall I speak it out? In fact, Sagar says that the Shayadri meeting is actually planned, and I will just read out what Sagar has shared here, given the challenges he's facing with his throat infection. The Shayadri Summit 2025, a gathering of environmental activists, will be held in Trikkapeda, Wayanad, in Wayanad on January 24th and 25th and 26th of 2025, with the aim of discussing the history, the politics, the philosophy of Kerala's environmental movement, and providing direction to environmentally relevant actions of contemporary significance. The objective of the gathering are to promote collaboration among environmental organizations and individuals, learn about pioneers in the environmental field, and discuss contemporary environmental issues in Kerala, plan interventions to build environmental awareness in society, and shape future environmental conservation initiatives. Maybe one of the important topics also, Sagar, now that we are having Dr. Gadgil's report also in hand, maybe even discussion of that report with relevance to Kerala could actually be addressed as an additional point. This entire detail is available on the chat for all those coming in. Are requested in case they're interested to please go ahead and join us on 24th, 25th, 26th in Wayanad.
Sanjay,
Sagar,
shall
you
I
were,
come in for a minute?
please, ma'am. Yeah,
Okay. No, ma'am, just Vidya.
yeah,
So,
Vidya.
yeah, I too met Professor Gadgil just a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the same context generally that Sagar referred to when we were opposing the Udpi power plant, which is now, of course,
Mm-hmm.
an Adani power plant. And in that context, we were talking of the Kodachadri ecologically sensitive area, of which the
Okay.
two twin districts of Udpi and Dakshina Kannada, we considered it part of the ESA, and we met Gadgil. Um, I don't remember how many times, but I seem to remember at least three times. But I'm an old woman now, and there could be more. So one
Mm.
was um, um, was in Kerala, where there was a formal meeting of his panel, and we
Okay.
formally handed over the KESA report to him. Um, Sagar wasn't there, but of course, just as Sagar said, he was very instrumental in seeing that we had that report on the ecologically sensitive area. Thereafter, we
Okay.
also met him in Pune in his house. Again, he was so gracious. He gave us, lay people so much time, and he tried to understand what was happening. Our whole concern about the thermal power plant and the refinery in our region, about the Devarakadu, the sacred groves in our region. So there was a lot of discussion, I remember, in his house. And it was so nice to see such a senior person who had spent so many years in the field to listen to novices such as myself. And of course, my companion then was Balkrishna Shetty, who has been like the mainstay of the opposition to the Udpi thermal power plant over the years through NTPC,
Okay.
Hendrix,
Mm.
and onwards till Adani. I remember us writing to him, and I think that was might have been my last interaction. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, but maybe it's 2008 or 9. And at that point of time, Adani wanted to set up Unit 3 and 4, an expansion of the plant. And we wrote to Gadgil to sort of intervene and speak at the MOEF to see that this doesn't happen. I don't know whether it is
Yeah.
because of Gadgil or our pressure or Adani just losing interest, but it hasn't happened till now. And we are still
Mm-hmm.
trying to see that Adani pays up the compensation for harm done in terms of health
Okay.
and agriculture to the people surrounding the plant. So that's primarily our work related, less personal interaction with not so much work, but activism related and environmental related interaction with Professor Madhav Gadgil. Thanks, Sanjay, for the
Wonderful,
opportunity.
wonderful, Vidya.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Professor Gadgil moved into the rural areas and was spending time with the tribals, is what I hear from Ramchandra Guha's talk that he has shared in his last phase of his life. So no wonder it appears that not many people have been in touch with him. I invite the rest to basically share whatever little interactions that they've had with Professor Gadgil and maybe continue the session till I just share the link of Ramchandra Guha's talk. And maybe if not many people are able to recall, I would what I will do is I will request Vidya to maybe share the 30-minute program that is recording that is available with Ramchandra Guha as something that all of us would appreciate together here before closing the session. So I leave it now for all the people, all the rest of the people who are gathered here to please invite themselves and say a few words of whatever little that they could remember or they have adopted out of Dr. Gadgil's reports and his and their understandings of what Dr. Gadgil has basically conveyed as far as environmental issues as well as sustainability and development is concerned.
Namaste, I am Sharada Gopal from Dharwad, Karnataka.
Namaskaram, madam.
Namaskara. I have translated Professor Gadgil's Walk Up the Hills book to Kannada and also his
Wow.
work Ecology and Equity. So
Wonderful.
that's how I got to know him, and I have talked to him also. I have met him, I think twice. I had attended one of his trainings in IISc Bangalore, and he was training people for biodiversity registration. That was a
Okay.
very wonderful job. I mean, work he had taken.
Hmm.
Actually, we were involved in that biodiversity registration work also, and
Wonderful.
I'm really impressed by his work and his talks and his writings. I'm really shocked and very much in grief uh, to hear about his demise.
So, Sharda
And,
ma'am, could you
yeah.
share a few of you now that you have translated two of his books? Could you share as to what were the key concerns that each of the books expressed through Gadgil, through Dr. Gadgil? What were your key thinkings and your key takeaways from those books? That would be
Uh,
a great share if you could.
Ecology and Equity book is written, it is co-authored by Ramchandra Guha and Professor Gadgil. Uh,
Okay,
it gives a very deep picture about total India's environment and what all the steps we should be taking to protect the Western Ghats and other parts of India's sensitive areas of environment in
okay,
India. And in this second book is bio. I mean, Walk Up the Hills is
right.
it gives a actually I thought it is about his personal life he would be writing something, but we hardly see any sentence. I mean, very little he writes about himself except for his um, earlier days education and
Uh-huh.
all. But afterwards, the
Okay,
whole thing is about Western Ghats and his work, ecology, and work on Chilika Lake in Odisha, and work with Chandi Prasad Bhatt. Uh, but he always, he's very much. Actually, he has stayed in Uttar Kannada of, near Sirsi, some villages of Karnataka, where he
okay.
started speaking the local language also. People never
Uh-huh.
thought he's a great scientist or professor. He was so simple and sitting on floor with people.
Very humble,
Very,
very
very,
humble. I
very.
mean, okay.
Even talking in the local language, he was talking in the local language also. That
Acha.
time he was doing a study on Betta. Betta is what is that part of Western Ghats. We have
Mm-hmm.
it is called
Mm.
Betta.
Okay.
So how that the ecology of that place and how people are, people and that area, they are uh, dependent on each other. He always wrote
Okay.
about the people who are living inside the forest.
Uh-huh.
It may be Adivasis, it may be small hamlets or Kunubi tribes or Gaulis. So he
Okay.
said even about Nagarhole or Bandipura, he writes about the people and the birds and the plant, everything. He's not just concerned about forest, but everything inside the forest. That is the
Okay.
greatness of him. If you want to save the forest, you have to save it with the people inside it. That was his his words. So that
Okay.
way, he's very much down to earth with the people, with the common people, with the tribals. So he was the real voice of people and forest together. And that's
That's
what we are
wonderful.
going to miss. Thank
So,
you.
the names of these books, ma'am, these two books that you have mentioned, that you have translated, you translated them into Kannada or was it
Yes,
into
yeah,
Acha?
to Canada. Yes.
So, kindly on the chat, do share the titles of these books. And
Yes.
in fact, I've just retrieved what Ramchandra Guha had to say about Dr. Madhav Gadgil. What he says is Dr. Madhav Gadgil's enduring legacy was as India's foremost ecologist, whose life was dedicated to harmonizing human needs with nature within the nature's limits. And through through Ram Guha's heartfelt anecdotes and the interview which included Dhanya Rajendran's insightful probing and the questions that she has raised in her session, this video has underscored how Gadgil's groundbreaking work from founding key institutions and biosphere reserves to authoring influential reports and books transformed the forest policies towards decentralization and equity. I think Sagar mentioned that very poignantly in his report as well, in his memories as well. His unheeded warnings on the Western Ghats highlighted the costs of political inaction, while the optimistic community-focused approach offered a blueprint for sustainable development for a vulnerable nation and the future generations. Dr. Gadgil's death marks to us a profound loss, but his ideas continue to guide and will continue to guide those who absorb the India's environmental future and urges that collective action against ecological degradation is the only way forward for sustainability. And this is from Ramchandra Guha's talk. And in Ramchandra Guha's talk, which I will share as a link on the chat again, the profile of Dr. Madhav Gadgil that he has outlined and he has mentioned under core topics that he has recalled are essentially on forest policy reforms. That is what he mentions. In the 1980s, Dr. Gadgil critiqued the Indian Forest Service's practices, such as planting exotic species like Caribbean pine in regions like Bastar, which harmed local biodiversity and communities. His research led to shifts towards native species restoration and influenced the 1988 National Forest Policy, he says, which prioritized ecological stability and community involvement. Then the next topic under which he has Ramchandra Guha has paid glowing tributes to Dr. Gadgil is under biosphere reserves and legislation. Dr. Gadgil was instrumental in establishing India's first biosphere reserve, the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve in 1986, spanning Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Karnataka, which set a model for integrating conservation with sustainable livelihood. The next portion that he has given accolades is under, and which is the primary area which he stresses again and again, is the Western Ghats report and sustainable development. As the chair of WGEEP 2010-2011, Gadgil report recommended classifying the Western Ghats, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, into three ecologically sensitive zones to restrict mining, dams, and pollution, while promoting community-led governance. And this is actually where I think the Deccan Plateau as well as the Kerala interventions came under and were actually addressed. And then finally, he sums it up saying that Gadgil's broader vision, as seen in his books that he has written, framed sustainable development as a political issue of resource equity, challenging vested interests and promoting grassroots experiments, such as in Uttara Kannada, where farmers adopted conservation practices based on his findings. His impact extended to developing an ecological index for India's forests, assessing health based on biodiversity and ecosystem services, which informed national environmental strategies, which informed and provided for assessing and health-based ecosystem strategies and services. Then, overall, Dr. Gadgil's legacy lies in shifting India's approach from colonial era exploitation to inclusive science-driven sustainability, inspiring a new generation to address the climate challenges. That is how Dr. Guha sums up Dr. Gadgil's contribution in his talk. And so that's all from my side. Anybody else would like to say, or shall we start wrapping up? Sandeep bhai.
चंद्र विकास जी का हाथ उठा हुआ है. चंद्र विकास जी, आप बोले.
हाँ, चंद्र विकास जी बोलिए.
हाँ.
चंद्र विकास, you are muted. Unmute करो यार.
To add to Sanjay's points on the book Ecology as Equity, there comes across a very radical framework where he classifies, very development vested interests as omnivores. That's a very stark classification. Then there are ecosystem people, people who live in harmony with nature. And then there are the ecological refugees. I think the most fitting tribute to him would be to turn this around and make ecological regeneration as a multiplier for human well-being and for sustainability and for intergenerational justice. Our yardsticks cannot be more consumption, more refrigerators per capita, more cars per capita, more credit cards per capita. All this kind of delusion and very dystopian dysfunctional yardsticks need to be tossed out of the window, and that I believe would be the most fitting tribute to what was essentially a legendary figure and a revolutionary who essentially turned around the development ethics as what I call as colonial eraser. That must continue, because what we are doing right now is indigenous eraser, which is against the letter and spirit of what Dr. Gadgil stood for. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Okay. So is Lubna now there? Lubna, are you there?
Wait a minute, Sandeep bhai. I don't see her yet.
No, she's logged on, but whether she's present behind the device. Lubna, are you there?
एक मिनट, let me just give her a call and find out, संदीप भाई. तब तक आप जरा बात कीजिए. And
KG Girish has raised his hand.
Yes, sir. Namaste.
Girish. Namaste,
Sir,
Girish.
myself, Dr. Girish from Sharavati Valley in Sagar, Shimoga.
Wonderful.
Actually, I'm not directly interacted with Professor Madhwar Gadgil, but we're all the young researchers were all inspired by his research and community-based involvement of Dr. Mad Gadgil. That's why, and it's a very profound loss to the all of our ecological community. And it's a time to give a tribute to the Gadgil. Just by we have to follow his the principles has been given by the Madhva Gadgil and regarding the respecting the science and safeguarding the very valuable Western Ghats ecosystems, and also his the thoughts given to the community regarding the giving importance to the local communities and their livelihood. All these are the inspirable for us, and you have to follow. Then only it's a real tribute to the Guardian, sir. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah,
Lubna,
sorry, Sandeep bhai, boliye.
yeah, Lubna is there, although she says that she prefers to listen. But Lubna, it will
Okay.
be nice if you can say at least one or two sentences. And then I also see
And
that,
also share some of the experiences she has from Hyderabad and
yeah, yeah,
Telangana.
yeah. And then I see that Arun Bidani Sahab is also there. So Arun bhai, आप भी कुछ बोलिए. Arun Bidani ji was present in the SAPAC meeting held in Hyderabad. So,
अच्छा 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 अच्छा
हाँ, Lubna and
सौ,
then,
सौ, सौम्या से बात नहीं हो सकी संदीप भाई आई थिंक ही इज नॉट फ्री ही इज नॉट अवेलेबल आई थिंक
yeah, yeah,
सौम्या जी से
yeah.
ओके
No, no problem. So, Lubna, please say something.
Lubna and I think somebody else raised their hand just now. One second, okay.
Sandeep ji and everybody, salam sabko.
जी,
Salam
No, I
Lubna.
just wanted to tell that I prefer to listen because I wanted to understand so much more of this great personality. And yeah, we interacted with him at Triple IT Hyderabad. He was here and also over the WhatsApp. He was very active. He used to detailedly explain when something is asked. And when with great interest, I read about him in the Hindu paper that covered extensively a whole page about his work written by Divya Gandhi and others. And also the Madras Courier, the link that I actually placed in the chat here. So I think he was very, very vocal in what he thought. And the other good, such a important point is that whenever he learned something, without hesitation, he transformed his thoughts, and he was open about that. And there is so much to implement about all that he told, and it matters now. It matters especially in these times when the governments are being hypocritical, and in the name of development, the capitalism. He was very open on all that. He never hid anything. He didn't have any sort of charades. He was open in what he thought then, what he thinks now, and. And the Madras career covered him so well that he, even before getting the Lifetime Achievement Award from the United Nations in, I think, 2024, even before that, also, he was actually, what to say, that he was so spoken about. His report, and he was so much spoken
Hmm.
about that he became a household name because of the critique that the it got through his committee, then the Kasturangan committee by the same Congress government. But I know that there was a purity in his thought, and there was ethics. He was when in his last WhatsApp chat that I had also, he told about how he doesn't believe much in God, but then Buddhism was something that still attracted him. He wrote that to me in the WhatsApp also.
Hmm.
And these were some of his thoughts. And he's a person I admire. And during one of my open representations regarding Musi Nadi restoration, also, I was writing that we must have people like, we must invite Madhav Gadgilji to head the team that goes for Musi restoration here, and not given to such capitalist and other teams from abroad who want to do things here. And I quoted actually the Nizam, who at that time had invited Sir Visvesvaraya. So similarly, now we
Hmm.
must invite Madhav Gadgilji to do things for Telangana, and not came in. I wrote it to this very government, my own, because I'm from the Congress party. I wrote it to my own government, critiquing their going in for some consortiums from abroad, from Singapore and other places. So this is, I remember him with so much of fondness for all that he did for the country. Yes.
Sorry, Lubna, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think this is all that I feel, and I am really very emotional that we could have taken so much more services from him. The country should have taken much more services from such a soul, but we did not benefit totally. But even now, it is not too late. We must understand where he was coming from. It was not that it is not understood, but that the capitalists and the governments that are going favoring oligarchs, all these policy shifts away from the Constitution of India. This is what is pulling down India and not allowing us to be the leader of the world. Otherwise, he talked even about morals and ethics, and it is this lack of ethical leadership in the world that we are seeing where we are now on every other front. If you see the latest Greenland, Venezuela, till what Madhav Gadgilji also handled, everything is due to lack of ethical leadership, and that's also something that he was very stressing upon. And what I was sharing with Sandeep ji also regarding what he told, that it is not just the ecologists should not just talk about the birds that sing and the water and the air, but they should also talk about the economy, the money, and the men, the employment. All these are quite intricately interconnected.
Linked.
So all
Yeah.
these are so plain. They make so much of sense, so much of sense, and it's all he spoke in a very language that everybody could be able to understand, and the people who are doing the mistake were able to understand their mistakes very well. For example, the government and the companies, and people like us could gain strength from what he was telling, and greater clarity that we are doing the right thing for the people. So that's how I am a great admirer of Madhav Gadgilji. And I quoted him at so many places, and I wrote to my own government that it is Madhav Gadgilji who must be invited here and not the consortium. I'm proud that at least I could write that to my own party's government, because I knew this person and I knew what my state needed and what our country needed. Thank you all.
All right.
Wonderful, Lubna. Thank you.
Yeah,
I have
Sagar.
shared the link of Ramchandra Guha's talk and a synopsis on the chat, Sandeep bhai. For those who are interested, they can copy it from there. Otherwise, also on our groups, it will be there. Back to you. I think
Okay.
Gangadhar has come. Gangadhar would like to say something
And
from
also
Hyderabad.
Sagar Bhai and Amit Singh have raised hands.
Oh, wonderful. Amit bhai also has come.
So
Sure.
one by one
Thank
we
you.
can go.
Sure.
Sagar Bhai, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought you had invited Gangadhar. Let him speak first.
Yeah, Gangadhar is invited. Gangadhar, please go ahead. Gangadhar, unmute yourself and speak. I think Gangadhar is not able to get his audio in place.
Sanjay, if I may just add couple of points to what Lubna ji said.
Please go ahead, Chandra, till Gangadhar is
Yeah.
able to get his audio
See,
system in place.
one is that she talked about Congress party. Incidentally, Congress and the other ruling party, they've been competing on ecological destruction in the name of development and welfare politics. So that is one. We don't have a green party, even a semblance of it in India. That is one sore point. The second point,
Correct.
since many times you also mentioned Jairam Ramesh, I have had very long conversations with him. I also met him at his residence. I hold him to be the biggest villain who is so treacherous about development. He had a point that he scolded Rajendra Singh ji, the Jal Purush, when we were
Okay.
talking about decommissioning dams, and I think you were there in the Constitutional Club meeting. Sandeep Bhai was certainly there. So to that, I made a very strident comment. I said that, okay, if dams are so necessary for hydroelectric power, then there are blood flowing in your veins. Why can't we generate some micro electricity, some pinch of it? So my point is that these apologists cause more lots of damage than outright monsters like Modi. So we are actually in the worst of both the worlds, competing with Congress and BJP, and we don't have a third alternative. We don't have a green party. So as a tribute to Madhav Gadgil ji, let us resolve to bring up a global green party, because sovereign nation states have anyway become defunct after 3rd of January, Black Saturday in Venezuela, and what has been happening in Palestine for last 2.5 years, and the continuing Second World War. My very radical point is that the Second World War never ended. We've only had some treacherous and deceptive peace, including the so-called bloody Cold War. So let us, listen to the youngsters who are suffering from eco anxiety, from mental health disorders, because their future is essentially being cannibalized. And I don't think there can be a better tribute to the legendary and the tall stature that Dr. Madhav Gadgil carried. No one else comes anywhere close to him, not even Mr. Ramchandra Guha or
Sure,
Jairam
Chandra
Ramesh,
Prakash.
who we like to quote.
So, in fact, that is why I would request Ranmal Jhala to basically share what his efforts have led to, because he is maybe one of the first people to come out vocally with a green manifesto and is working on building up a party from Ahmedabad and towards the north. But I don't know where he is. Maybe he can give us an update and
Well,
combine with the youngsters who are here in Hyderabad, who are
well,
planning to
I'm
build up a
not.
green
I
party, who have met
started a
Gangadhar
green
and me.
party.
Hmm.
Hello, can you
Yeah,
hear
tell.
me?
Yes, yes.
I started a green party called Haryali or Rasta, but then I joined there is something called the India Greens Party in Garhwal, and I
Okay.
joined them, left them because they're not professional, nobody's planting trees.
Hmm.
Anyway, my
Maybe.
party is now a campaign.
Okay.
It's called
Good.
Haryali or
Good.
Rasta. You can share my manifesto with everybody.
Sure, sure. It's already shared. In fact, there's a feedback also that has come, Ranmal. We need to have a session on that. I will. Gangadhar is also on that same group. Maybe I will request Sagar Dhara's time as well once we have come out with your fresh presentation, and we can actually have a meaningful discussion on that, on the points that have come as feedback for your manifesto. That
Yeah.
is indeed a great effort. There are certain points that have come back. I suggest you give a thought on them, and then we can have a session again. Gangadhar, would you like to say something? Is your audio okay now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes. Yes. So I don't have the experience of personally interacting with Gadgil ji, but whenever I need to have a reference or something, I refer to his works and found them because they're also always authentic and practical. And I take him as a role model for the work for anybody who wants to do any work in environment and social justice and related things. He is the right kind of person to refer to and consult. But that's how I relate to him. And what is making me sad is that the citizens are not so involved in this, because it's good that we are having this memorial meeting, and media, including the mainstream, have covered him extensively.
Extensively, in fact.
Maybe because of the Padma Award he has got, and I don't know. Normally,
I
they
think the
do
print
10
media has covered him the best, I would say.
best.
Many of the
Yes,
papers have come out with full pages on him. And that
yes,
itself is
yes,
a great tribute to the gentleman, to the
yes.
man and the.
But unfortunately, the funeral it is in just two numbers, not even into three digits. Those who attended, That's a bit disheartening. Anyway, let's take it forward. And regarding this green initiative, what I think is that there are multiple efforts in India, but unless until people rally around this, it's very, very difficult. That's what I have to say. It's not to discourage, but
How do we create
we,
awareness, Gangadhar? That is where you, as a media man, have to keep thinking and keep working, and we have to work together on that. Between you, Lubna, me, Sandeep Bhai, and all, it has to come. Sandeep Bhai also has to share his thoughts as a Socialist Party secretary, what he is planning to do in his next phase to actually bring in environmental issues as key issues so that the youth can get motivated and also participate in a proper manner so that they can demand that our future is protected for not only for ourselves but also for the future generations.
yeah,
So
see, the
content
things
has to
have
be made.
changed. Things have changed, and technology has got involved in a very big way in mass communication. Earlier days, it was just you print a pamphlet and distribute things used to move forward. Now it is not like that. Either you hire people who have the technology, who are exposed to that and have the skills, or you learn it yourself. So both the cases, we need to involve youngsters, and there are two, three issues with youngsters where we can involve them. They prefer to reinvent the wheel than work with those who are already experienced. I don't know the reason. We need to figure it out. But
Right.
one thing I can say for sure is you need some monetary support, or at least some technical support. Without both of these or any one of these, it's very, very difficult to survive and spread the awareness. That's my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gangadhar. I see Preeti has raised her hand, Sandeep Bhai. I request Preeti to say a few words. Please go ahead, Preeti. Preeti Anand, unmute yourself. Preeti, we are waiting for you. We have Mr. Amit Singh also. Please, Amit Singh, in Preeti will join in shortly. Please go ahead, Amit.
Hi.
Well, hello. Acha,
Oh,
okay.
I guess you passed over your turn to me, Preeti. Do you want to speak first?
No, no,
He'll come
please
back
carry
again.
on. I can speak after you. Please,
Yes,
please
Preeti,
carry
it's
on.
Yeah, but
always there. We are waiting for you.
you might get bored with my talking and then go off
No,
again
no,
or
no, no,
something.
not at all. Please, please.
I met him.
Go
Pehle
ahead.
aap.
But ladies first. I was always my policy.
Yeah, but I guess I started and then, well,
Sure, sure. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
I
I
met
was
him
just
first
joking.
in 2009. And ironically, it was at a conference which Jairam Ramesh was presiding over.
Okay.
And he came to take a call on what we were going to do with the Western Ghats. And
Mm.
yeah, many proposals were being discussed. And of all the proposals which had the axe fall on them, I guess Lavasa had the axe fall on it in 2010.
Okay.
And I remember we were discussing all the notes of all. I don't think I have met anybody else who has wandered around the Western Ghats as much as he has, because um, we were discussing our notes of walking across so many parts in the Western Ghats. And he would say, no, no, Lote Parusharam is not like that. From there you go here, Ratnagiri, this is how it is. Where did you go
Okay.
over here? And I was telling him about how, I've explored the Western Ghats all the way from Palolem in Goa, swam through, then came to Aganda, crossed over, climbed Cabo de Rama, then went down to Arambol, then Betul, then so on, and then kept walking, walking, walking all the way up till I hit. So this guy was a man who was always very happy being in the field, and he would never go by anything else other than primary data that he validated himself, and which was, I think, one of my first um, bearings, so to speak, in terms of understanding science from the perspective of being in the element over being in a classroom or being away from wherever the elements are and then writing, I don't know, fancy papers about it and getting published and what have you. So
Okay.
that was what really drew me to him. Then our paths crossed a few times after that, and then I still remember that those were the days when he told me, when we used to have this debate about, okay, but what about this business of the fact that some mining will happen no matter what we do? This Lavasa business will happen no matter what we do. What about that? So he
Hmm.
kept saying, "You read my report. Read the Western Ghats report. Read it." And then he push you to read it, and then you didn't have a choice but to struggle through, muddle through with whatever came your way, and try to
Hmm.
those days your rudimentary understanding of things. Then and later try to start getting more appreciative of where things were.
What he's done.
Yeah, what he's done, and the actual depth and the volume of work which starts to bear upon you as you begin to understand the overall impact and the interconnectedness of things the way he put it. And strangely, he was this off-key. I believe he was a product of modern school too, and he has three other illustrious colleagues from his time. All four of them were Padma
Modern school
Shris.
where? Delhi or Pune?
No, Pune. And
Acha, okay.
I think Finance Secretary Vijay Kelkar,
Hmm.
Padma Shri Dr. Amitabh Malik, and the other Padma Shri R.A. Marshalkar, all four of them were some sort of a clique, if you like.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So he was pretty well, um, what should I say, networked. And
Hmm.
despite having spent his time in Harvard, and I don't know if he refused a tenure at Harvard or what that was, but I don't know what it was again that brought him back. But he said he was very happy gambling around the Western Ghats and figuring all of this around. Another contemporary of his, of course, is Dr. Iraj Bharucha. And
Hmm.
they did some work again in terms of the expressway alignment when that was being built in 99, between 95 to 99. And they saved a whole bunch of wilderness then by taking the alignment via above the mountain. But I believe a lot of damage has happened since, and now they've cleaned up that expressway alignment and made it direct tunnel. The so-called missing link has come into force, and a lot of damage is done there. Well,
Okay.
that said, then times changed, and along with the times, Dr. Gadgil didn't change. So you had a new government come in power in 2014 and them announced Namami Gange and what have you. But his methods or his style of doing things, his outspokenness, nothing changed. So he decided still to go and walk down the banks of the Ganga, figure out where the sewage treatment plants were, go and find out if they were working or no, understanding for himself whether there were electricity outages there, how many hours of outage, 8 hours of outage a day, 10 hours, 16 hours, how much MLD are you treating, how much are you letting go directly into the Ganga. Oh my, and the detail
Very
orientation he
impressive.
had towards all of these things was phenomenal. So he would do all of that, and then he would come back and he would talk about it, and he would publish it if he could. And this was the man, and that's why
Hmm.
we owe a huge debt of gratitude to him, because there are very few people who want to do primary data, primary research, primary field level work, and then come back with the data and then talk about it in a manner in which other scientists will begin to appreciate where they're coming from. So yeah. Thank you very much for
Wonderful.
the opportunity to
Wonderful,
speak.
Amit.
Yeah.
So, when did you meet him last, Amit? I mean, were you there with him in the last 6 months?
I
Any
no, I
occasion?
wasn't. I last met him at a conference which was held by PIC this technically last year, 2025.
Uh-huh.
His colleague Amitabh Malik had held the
Where, in
conference.
Bangalore
And
or in
no,
Pune?
no,
Where did
in
you meet
Pune,
him?
Pune. Yeah,
In Pune. Oh, he
yeah,
was there
very
in
much in
Pune.
Pune. Yeah. So
Okay.
thankfully, because
And
of him being in Pune, our paths used to keep crossing. Ecological Society. PIC, somewhere or
Okay.
the other, Gokhale.
Okay. Okay.
I'd keep running into him somewhere or the other.
So what were the what are the feelings that you got in the last few years of your interactions? I mean, how was he taking it that in spite of everything that has been done and the work that has been shared in the public, all the
So,
governments, the hypocrisy, the
so
ridiculous
here's the
actions.
here's the thing. I mean, I came back to him quite a few times with my own personal struggles because you see,
Hmm.
I've traveled almost everywhere in the planet. I've skied to the South Pole. I've crossed the Arctic Circle 6 times. I've led
Mm-hmm.
33 expeditions all over the world. I've done 250 dives in the world's oceans. I have traversed perhaps 70% of the planet the way we know it. And
Hmm.
then in 2016-17, for instance, I was trying to convince these people in Uttarakhand that don't fell these 60,000 trees for this
Hmm.
Chardham nonsense,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
we will just subject ourselves to some crazy landslides. Let this
Yeah.
not happen. So I traveled across 400 villages and I was trying to speak to everyone there. And especially the younger generation, they weren't buying into anything I had to say. They would say, "Sir, आप तो देहरादून से दिल्ली से देहरादून 5-6 घंटे में आ जाते हो, हम कब जाएंगे 6 घंटे में देहरादून? When हमारा विकास कब होगा?
Hmm.
When is it going to be that we will be able to also reach Dehradun and we will also have a good road? When are things going to
Hmm.
change for us?" And well, with those sort of arguments, you really don't have anything to say, and there's really not much you can do or say in such a circumstance. So I came back defeated. I had a colleague who was fighting the matter. We went all the way to the highest levels in Supreme Court. There, the government placed a sealed envelope, and in the sealed envelope, it was said that it's a matter of national security, so the court should recuse itself from the issue. And well, the
Mm-hmm.
court didn't have a choice but to dismiss our petition. Those 60,000 trees got felled, the Chardham got built, and every
Hmm.
single village that I went to speak to not have this happen is now buried. Either a part of it or most of it is buried under landslides. Every half a
Gosh.
kilometer, you have a landslide incidence. Those people, when they call me today and say, "Please," I'm saying, "What am I going to do? You have brought this upon yourself." Now the hill is just going. This is where, when I asked him what is going to happen, and he said the hill will take back its nature, will take back its original territory. So
Hmm.
you don't worry about all
Yeah.
this. I mean, no
Hmm.
matter how much damage you do, nature will come back and reclaim what belongs to her. So you did what you could. Now you come back and you
Yes.
move on to whatever best you can do. And
Hmm.
so these struggles. When I would come back to him and tell him, "Look, this is what I'm seeing over here happening in the Western Ghats. What do you think I should be able to do?" He says, "Start writing about it. At least start putting it out there,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
now start thinking about litigating." And I would think, no, no, litigating is too far away for me. I have to well, at least let me try and see what best I can do on the ground. Let me see if I can mobilize people. He'd say, "You do all that, but try and see if you can start bringing your voice into courts, into the system, so that this option that is available to you is not lost." And then I would tell him, "I feel very alone.
True.
It's quite a lonely battle doing all this." And he would
True.
say, "But every change in the world has begun with the minority of one. One guy felt that he could change the world, and that's where it started. So you can't stop fighting ever. I mean, look at us."
You must have worked with Chopra also then when Chopra walked out of the entire committee in the north. Ravi Chopra.
Yes,
Did
I
you
did. I
have you
did. I
that?
did end up meeting him. Yes, I did end up meeting him a few times.
Where is Chopra now? Is he not
I
active
have
anymore?
no clue, but the common cause guy, Vipul Modgil, he should know because Chopra was in touch with him for the longest
Sandeep Bhai
time.
might be knowing. Sandeep Bhai.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
also must be knowing.
Yeah. He came to our course on socialism in Mussoorie last year.
Acha,
So
acha, acha.
he's
Okay.
very much there. He's not active part of People Science Institute, which he founded in Dehradun. But of course,
Mm-hmm.
he continues to work. He's more in
So
an
maybe this is the
advisory.
time.
He's more in
This
an
is the time,
advisory
Sandeep
role.
Bhai.
Yeah.
This is the time when Sandeep Bhai, that Socialist Party has to take the initiative now and get back all the environmentalists in so that they can support this inclusive thinking and politics that socialism has for the country. तो
But
आपका now it's all
नहीं,
yours.
पहले वो प्रीति जी को बोलने दीजिए, and then
हाँ
there's
प्रीति जी को बोलना है उसके बाद देन प्रसाद
hand
जलाजी
raised,
साहब ने भी रेस किया
hand
है.
raised by
प्रीति जी
Do
Prasad.
we do we
first
have
Preeti.
time? Do we have
Yeah,
time?
it's
Yeah, of course.
time is available. Preeti, please go ahead.
Hi. I don't think most of
Namaste.
you know me. I just know a few people here, Sanjay, Sagar, Arun. I think that's about it. And I put in the chat, I had the privilege of copy editing the biography of Madhav Gadgil published by Penguin.
Wow,
So that was
amazing.
some years back. And there are sections on his early life, how he met his wife, and the why they consciously, somebody, I think Amit asked, yes, they had an offer to teach. They taught for 2 years and then they chose to return to India to work for the country. Very much in the early 70s, when many Indians, even those who opposed the emergency from there, did not do that. And Hiremat, as you know, came back much later. So, in fact, that's another book on the emergency I've happened to have the privilege of working on. So, my intervention here is, of course, his contribution is great as an individual, but nature, if we are into nature and ecology, and one of you said his attraction to Buddhist thinking. So we are all parts, we all play our part in this interconnectedness. So I would say the most important thing is all the efforts of individuals and groups that are still in this struggle. That's what's, otherwise we may fall into the danger of just appreciating individuals. Of course, individuals' contributions are significant, but they are also supported by many things, by their families, by their spouses, by circumstances, by many things. So right now, I think the SAPAC effort, all the other things people are doing in different parts of the country, I think that has to be appreciated very much. And it's a lonely battle at one level, but then we join hands. There are people sitting in the press, there are people on the ground, there are scientists, there are good government officials. So that's the hope. And the speaker before me, as he said, yes, there'll be times nature will just ferociously strike back. And then
Yeah.
you pay the price for being foolish, either collectively or, in a region. That's all I wanted to say.
So I'll just chime
True,
in
that's
with
true.
a small case study. We have one of my lawyers is Ritvik Datta of Life. And, with this Sikkim Tista matter, we lost in the lower courts because it was, a 15,000 megawatt project. Come on. You lost in the lower court. So then we went to the high court. We lost in the high court, 15,000 megawatt project. So much development, so many jobs, what have you. We lost there. Then we went to Supreme Court. Then we lost in the Supreme Court. And then there was really nothing to do. I mean, you've lost everywhere. Where do you go? So after that, the flood took place. The glacial lake outflow outburst, and then it killed. I don't know. I think a few dozen people. I think at least 40 people. Whatever on ground reports tell me, as usual, data disappears and things happen. And now,
That was pre-COVID, isn't it, Amit?
yeah.
That was
Now
2000.
suddenly
No,
everything's
it's
very
post-COVID.
post-COVID.
It's
Sorry,
post-COVID.
post-COVID. But
Okay.
now suddenly everything's very quiet about it. Now no one wants to touch that matter again. You understand? So nature will have its own way of fixing itself, and whether we like it or not, the best that we can do is at least mitigate the damage. That is all we can do.
No, but
Some
Amit,
But
I have been to the Tista after that,
okay.
and there was interest, there is interest to continue to recreate those dams or to fortify what has been, Tista 5 is what has been talked of, etc. So it is because there's consistent pushback by people on the ground. The affected citizens of Tista keep pushing. There are other groups, therefore. And compensation for harm done has not happened yet. A lot of houses have, had really, really
Preeti, will
bad.
that ever happen? That's my question. I don't think it'll ever happen. Not with these sort of
Yes,
governments and sort of
yes.
mindsets.
You're so right. You're so right. Yeah.
Vijay, can
So
I
I
share a
think
few
talking about that
points?
is wasting time. Literally, that is where the entire process of actually demanding accountability and having environmental issues become mainstreamed inside the political manifestos becomes the cry of the time, which actually draw from the knowledge as well as the efforts that have been done by people like Dr. Gadgil, Amit, you. In fact, do share some more of your memories from your interactions with Dr. Gadgil and his wife and his family as you wrote his book. And what was it that you actually found very striking at that particular point, so that we could possibly carry that back with us?
Are you talking? Was that addressed to me?
Yeah, Preeti.
Acha, because Vidya was talking, I think, so I thought you were.
Oh
Oh,
no, we couldn't hear Vidya. Vidya, sorry, we couldn't hear you.
I thought Vidya was speaking.
No,
No,
no, I
Vidya.
spoke and I completed. I mean, when somebody
Acha.
says that the compensation and reparations will never be done, I agreed and I folded up after that.
Well, it's been,
Oh, okay.
acha, okay. It's been some years. I work on so many books, so after a point, everything becomes a kind of a blur. But yes, this was a man who was so curious, and his wife is in her own right a very well-known scientist and a
True.
meteorologist, if I know. She worked in the area of climate, and
Mm-hmm.
I think she has supported him tremendously.
Okay.
It that very cliche term behind every successful man, there is a quietly working woman kind of thing. So that was there, and he would, as one of the speakers, he had this way of walking over hills and going into groves. He also had a sociological mind. It was not
Mm.
just figures and science, and that's what happens, I think, when you're in biology, say, as opposed to physics. So, you are seeing life, the throbbing of life, the creatures, the living
Yeah.
aspect of the environment. And I think he never lost his curiosity, and I think he never lost his optimism. After his report was shelved, and then they appointed a
Mm.
so-called new committee with Kasturi Rangan, which supposedly went through his report and came out with the most sanitized whatever. But
Written. Mm.
I don't think he became cynical.
Mm.
He just felt he had to do what he had to do.
Okay.
So sometimes Sagar and I've had conversations about, individual action versus collective action and so on, and what is more effective. Maybe there's no more or less. We have to
Mm.
do what it's like. We may not have a choice about what we want to do because we are compelled to do. I mean, in my own very small way, I am obsessed
Yeah.
with urban waste and urban waste segregation and textile pollution and all those things, which may seem trivial in the face of forest destruction or a river pollution. But as a
True.
citizen living in the city, I just diligently every day have to do what I have to do. Every scrap of paper or every bit of plastic, or so I think we all somewhere choose our paths. And coming back to
Do our
Professor
best.
Gadgil, I think he never gave up. And then he got into other areas. I think he was also tutoring people, in getting into Marathi writing publications. He just felt that he had a whole lot of areas where he can contribute. And I think we
Right.
have to just create value wherever we
Mm.
are. Otherwise, it's a little depressing, and we may just feel that there's nothing to do, and that makes us very defeated. And
True,
somehow,
true.
I just hope actually that all our actions somewhere add up.
Yeah.
And, we are little links in some larger change, which will change the world. That's all I can say.
Wonderful,
Children, for
wonderful.
instance, have not gone into this field, as far as I know. They have conventional careers, as far as I
Hmm.
seem to remember.
So this is exactly where Father Edwin, neurocracy and sociocracy should actually bring in
Huh.
the ability to reach these messages across to the children parliament and make this into a talking point for them to actually address it with the people whom they meet, the seniors and the adults that they meet in their lives. If Father Edwin is there, I think he should take note.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sanjay, can I
Prasad.
share a few stark points, that break out from
Chandra,
what?
one second. Prasad has
Yeah.
been waiting before that. Let
Okay,
Prasad
sure.
say, and then afterwards you can take. Prasad, please
Yeah,
go ahead.
thank you. Great tribute. I just want to add one more thing. Given the tremendous work of Dr. Gadgil, we should put all his work into the curriculum right from elementary school and upwards around the globe. I see a lot of influencers here, even though I'm not known to them. We should take this initiative and ring this up into educational system. We see young leaders even from Congress, right? So this is a moment to do all this kind of stuff so that we can put the pressure on the system through education system also. And at the end of the day, money talks. We all know that. So how do we promote at least the village economies through this kind of simple ideas that are doable, and they can see the money at the end of the day that could be scaled up. I'm saying this as a mentor for environmental protection through startup and social entrepreneurship from both sides of the ponds. That might be one thing that I see as a light. And third important thing is we know so many things, and we are also working in silos. We have to break that thing. So once we learn lessons from each other, push it as a global moment. More importantly, India was a sustainable nation once before, but we lost in transition. It is easy to get back, as far as I know, but the political willingness is not there. And of course, we all met Sanjay, if you remember, in one of the
Yeah.
meetings hosted by Telangana AP Eco Umbrella, right? In that, we
Yes,
discussed
yes,
about
yes.
pushing political parties to provide information through their whatever the agenda for the election, incorporating the environmental protection promises they must do from now onwards.
Yes,
We
yes,
also
Prasad.
know one individual who fought on these lines and lost election in Hyderabad itself. So
She was
we are
here.
not that.
That's Lubna
Yeah.
Sarwat. That was Lubna was here.
Yes. So there is another gentleman by name Akash, if I remember it right.
Yes,
So
Akash Rimunju. I had requested him to
yes,
join
yes.
today, but he has not. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he fought election on that front. Of course, he lost. I know this is not a popular sentiment in any country. You may be wondering, why you are lecturing us like this. I'm coming from a background of being a steering committee member for Texas Sustainable Business Network. Being a Texan living in a highly polluted state, we sued Texas government also through American Sustainable Business Network for discouraging ESG. We're all doing some sort of work, and this is the moment to be forwarded with all our willpower. And many battles were fought in this world for right reason, and at the same time were lost. Right. So in this
True.
first particular journey, walking along with Dr. Gadgil, we would be at least to tell everybody that we are good parents. Nothing can beat that. No war can beat this argument that we would be good parents if we take care of what Dr. Gadgil
Gadgil
taught
has
us.
said.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Wonderful, wonderful, Prasad. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Chandra, all yours.
Sanjay, firstly, the mainstream narrative today is so loaded against our own survival. That's a very stark comment I would make. And then I go on to enlist three characteristics of good people, which makes them failures, most of the times. The first characteristic is that good people are decent. Let's learn being indecent in face of marauding monsters. Number two, good people work piecemeal. They're very happy working in their silos. And they're not silo breakers. It's the evil who are silo breakers. So let's welcome evil. Let's grow some evil in each one of us, to become silo breakers. I'm responding to some of the very intriguing and sobering thoughts that Amit Singh shared, about what Dr. Gadgil told him, that nature bats last, but
Yes.
we don't need to wait for so long. We need to awaken the nature in us because we have a responsibility. And unlike what John Maynard Keynes is, kind of attributed as saying, in the long run, we are all dead. You know, from my second year at IIM Calcutta, I kept harping that Keynes was, brutally wrong. In the long run, our children get married and have children.
Yeah.
You know,
And your name
so my
continues.
yeah, but
Perpetuity.
the epidemic of instant gratification that has made us all so delusional and so deranged, is not something that eludes the environmentalists as well. We send our children to the same bloody AI infested world, to study in those US universities and do all the kind of things. Both leftists and rightists, conservatives and liberals are united on this front, sending their children abroad. Okay, you know that I walk the talk. I have practiced what I'm preaching. I bicycle all my local trips. I have a below the poverty line ecological footprint, even though I have a royal quality of life. So I'm just making it allowed and clear.
Sandeep
So
is there next, don't worry.
the third characteristic that good people have is that they brag to be apolitical. That is for idiots. Unless we learn to leverage, and unless good people who want peace, who want sustainability, learn to organize, we have no chance in hell to even survive. Forget about doing well and even being
Right.
respected by society and by our own children. So my very stark suggestion is that let Dr. Gadgil's departure from this very muddled up, messed up earth to a heavenly abode be a signal for all of us. Let's not regret how many people turned up for his funeral. Even for Swami Vivekanand, it was just a handful, but just a few decades later, and it's happened so many times. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby was he actually committed suicide. He was so depressed, and that's supposed to be the greatest novel that runs down the American dream, which is world's nightmare. So I think we have already, the sun has risen, the dawn has broken, the long night has ended. We are just not awake enough to be able to see the new dawn. And I think this meeting must continue. This meeting shouldn't just be a one-off, like.
Yeah.
And sorry to say, but Sandeep Pandeyji and the socialist circles have been the biggest, kind of, the baggages who have stalled things from moving faster. Otherwise, in the
Fine.
Ganga movement also, I remember the date,
Okay.
20th of February 2020, when we met Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, and Dr. Vijay was there. Sanjay, I don't think you were there in Delhi at that time.
No, I was not there.
The
I was not
minister
there.
asked, let me just take a few minutes to share a very important point. The minister asked very logical questions. I'm not apologizing for all ministers, but Gajendra Singh Shekhawat in that 1 hour meeting asked very logical questions. The questions were twofold. Number one, he said that you people in the cities demand water supply. If we decommission the dams, where do we give you water from? Number two, he asked that if we shut down the hydroelectricity, then where do we give you the electricity from? Then as you know, I have worked on my lifetime on localized abundance and circular economy on the demand management side. I give him a glimpse of my solution framework, how it creates food abundance, water abundance, and reduces our dependency on grid electricity. And he welcomed it. He said he will organize a 3 hour workshop. But you know what? The so-called Matri Sadan Guru, I don't even remember that idiot's name. He
Hmm.
started shouting, and Dr. Vijay and everyone else, and Rajendra Singh Jalpurush was also there. So these old hackneyed, activists need to, take a break. They need to just retire and leave the space for younger people who have skin in the game, who really care for everyone, including older people.
Hmm.
Because it's older,
Because
bloody, selfish
Chandrika, your
people.
points are
Yeah,
taken. Your
yeah,
points are
he had
taken,
that.
but
He
don't
had that.
don't use
But
abusive
elderly
language
people,
here.
I'm
No
giving a
point.
stark warning. Be prepared for mass graves. If you don't listen to younger people because you are stealing their future, you are cannibalizing their future. Be prepared for mass graves. Euthanasia is already legalized. Thank you.
Hmm. संदीप भाई, अब आपके हाथ में है. चंद्र विकास has also mentioned your name.
Yeah, yeah.
तो आपको बताना पड़ेगा, उसको समझाना पड़ेगा.
नहीं नहीं वो अभी this that is not the purpose of this meeting.
Right,
So
right. Of course. नहीं नहीं,
Sagar
आप
bhai
बताइए.
Sagar
So
bhai
we
has
have
all
to adopt Gadgil
right.
Saab's
Yeah, yeah.
thoughts into our system.
This
And of
meeting
course,
was
rest is
about
yours.
Madhav Gadgil ji.
Yeah.
So I don't have too much to say about him except that when I read about him, I have probably heard him speak at the meetings only. I had no personal interaction. But one thing that comes out very clearly is that uh, human beings were part of his ecological conservation thinking, you know, and he kept the reality in mind. I mean, he knew that there will be an economy and there will be exploitation of nature, but then he differentiated between common people living with nature, you know, and fulfilling their needs, and then the corporates who were out to plunder the nature for profit. So he was for a model where the people would live with nature and conserve it. So I think that is the biggest lesson that we learn from him. And
Yeah.
then I will just mention you've already posted the next workshop on socialism in Mumbai.
Yeah. It's there on the chat
Yeah,
for
yeah.
those who are interested
So,
to join.
so the Socialist Party would like to pitch itself as the Green Party, and we have decided that our youth wing, the Socialist Yujan Sabha, will be dedicated, only to this objective, uh,
Wonderful.
climate justice. And as our first, activity that we are taking up is a visit to Arunachal Pradesh, where people are fighting against the big dams on the rivers there, the Siang River and others, and it's almost a losing battle there because the forces which are pro dam are too strong. The government is very strong there and aligned with the central government. Um, but the people are fighting. People have been bought over. Huge compensations are being given, but people are still fighting. So we are going to go to Arunachal Pradesh very soon, maybe in the next 2-3 months, and then try to understand the struggle that is going on and stand with the people there. So anybody who would like to be part of this exercise are welcome to get in touch with Sanjay Bhai and
Yeah.
give their contact information, and we will get in touch with you. Or you could just turn up at the Bombay workshop, which is at Yusuf Meher Ali Center from 3rd to 7th February. And this is near a place called Panvel, which is on the network of local trains, 18 kilometers from there. The district is
I have
right.
shared the details
Yeah, yeah,
and the contact on the
right,
chat
right,
for those
right,
who are interested, please.
right. So
No, in fact, I think, Sandeep
that's
bhai,
all I
we
have
should
to
have
say.
a special session which will remember Dr. Madhav Gadgil
Sure.
at the Panvel session, where we basically, based on a deep reading of his reports that he has made
Yeah.
about sustainability and environmental issues,
Mm.
bring those points in as key issues that we will address in the
Mm.
future campaigns that the youth has to live by, as well as the parties have to actually align by. Let
Yeah.
us actually take the lead in this entire story,
Mm.
and as well-wishers of the good for this nation as well as for the society at large. Chandra Vikas also has his points. Let
Mm.
us see what's the best way forward that we can actually achieve out of this, and let this entire session, as well as Dr. Gadgil's passing away, act as a marker which allows us to rethink and build up the future in a better way. I uh, I leave you to share the final word, Sandeep bhai. I think we are already reaching
Yeah. Yeah.
almost 11-ish now.
2 hours.
So
Yeah.
we will close the session by 11. If anybody else has anything to say, they're welcome to unmute themselves and say or leave there. You can take, I'll share the number. My numbers are already there. If you have reached here, you already have my number. You can always send a message, and you have the numbers of uh, uh, of of the session that is being planned at Panvel over here, and the rest I leave it to you. Thank you, Sandeep
And
bhai.
Sagar can conclude if he wishes,
Yeah,
Sanjay.
correct. That's what we will do. So Sagar, kindly conclude the session once everybody has finished with their.
Yeah, okay. If there is anyone else who wants to speak, please go ahead. Okay, should I conclude?
Yes, Sagar. Do tell us
Okay.
about your plans for 24th, 25th, and then you can conclude. And please get well soon. Let's have a meeting before that in Hyderabad at Lama Khan as quickly as possible. And rest, of course, 24th, 25th meeting is there. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I think the best tribute we can pay to Madhav Gadgil is to lobby for his report to be implemented to the extent
Yes.
possible. There's a lot of politics around it. There's a lot of opposition from vested interests, both in terms of governments. All the governments are in, of the states which occupy the Western Ghats, including Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, have not been in favor of either the Madhav Gadgil report or even the Kasturi Rangan report. But other than that, there are other vested interests also, like the plantation owners and so on, particularly in South Kerala. I think the best tribute we can pay is to really lobby for the Madhav Gadgil report to be implemented to the extent possible. Now, and the first opportunity I can see is the meeting that is happening in Wayanad between the 24th and the 26th of this month. It's an open meeting. Anybody in this meeting can register and go for this meeting in Kalpeta. And if you want the details, please write to me. I will send you the details. You can register for this meeting.
Sagar, kindly share that post once more on the chat for the people who have joined recently.
I
They might
tried to
have
do
missed
it.
it.
I have not been able to actually cut paste and paste it here. So I will send my email address, and those who wish
That'll
to,
be fine.
or just write to me on WhatsApp, and I will post it on WhatsApp to you, separately.
Otherwise, Sagar, just send it to me on WhatsApp. I will post it on the chat as
Sure,
well.
I can do that. So this is the best opportunity. There are many issues that are going to be taken up there. Uh, there are a lot of people from Karnataka also coming for this meeting. Besides, of course, people in Kerala. People in Kerala are going to take up not just the issue of the Western Ghats and the landslide which happened, about which already there is a book that some of us have written, and that's already been released in Malayalam. The English version will be released next month. Uh, but the Kerala people are also going to take up the issues of Western Ghats and what is happening to the coastal districts of Kerala. So please do come because the Madhav Gadgil report will also be probably discussed in this meeting. This is really what I have to say right now. The unfortunate part is that, okay, just to sum up, I see a crisis building up in another, let's say, a couple of decades in terms of water crisis in India, and that will lead to, in fact, international problems because there are four huge water towers in India: the Eastern Ghats, the Western Ghats, the Himalayas, and the Northeast. And everything in between is going to be water stressed. And people will start migrating towards these water towers, and that's going to create a lot of complications. On the 1st of February, in fact, I will be presenting some information, some work which I had done long ago, in fact, but which is critical to the Deccan Plateau as to what is going to happen to the Deccan Plateau in about a couple of decades, and how the Western
Wow.
Ghats really provides an enormous amount of ecosystem services to the Deccan Plateau. And the implication of this is not just all science. There's a lot of science in it, but it has a lot of geopolitical implication and sociological implication because there is going to be mass migration from the Deccan Plateau and from the Indo-Gangetic Plain, and people will move towards the water towers, and that will lead to a lot of political instability in not just India but the whole of South Asia. So the issue of actually safeguarding our natural resources and sharing them equitably has become a very central issue. And this issue is going to bother us, in fact, for the next several decades. So I will end on that note. We can start by, in fact, looking at the Western Ghats and how to share the natural resources of the Western Ghats equitably between all the states that actually have the Western Ghats within their borders. Yeah, I will end on that note.
Thank you very much, Sagar. Let me not be amiss in not thanking Vidya. Vidya, any final words? It is because of her that we have had the occasion to have this Zoom call, and with her patience
No
that we
thanks
have
needed,
been able to
Sanjay.
be on here at 11.
No, no,
Vidya,
no, not an issue at all. I'm happy to have this
wonderful,
opportunity to listen to all of you and to actually remember Professor Madhav Gadgil.
wonderful, Vidya.
There's
Thank
something,
you.
one last point, may I add?
Yeah, Preeti, please
See,
go ahead.
there is
No,
one
it's
question.
Lubna. It's Lubna who's speaking.
Oh,
Uh,
Lubna said so. I'm sorry. Lubna, go ahead.
no, there is one question or one challenge that Amit Singh had pointed out. See, when he's going from village to village, explaining them about the repercussions that the people themselves will have to face in the form of
Mm.
loss of life and everything,
Uttarakhand, yeah,
there was a question that the people were asking Amit Singh. And Amit
correct.
Singh, his voice also at that time showed all the disappointment because he was
Mm,
unable to answer that challenging question from the ground. So
correct.
Mm.
when Sagar Dhara and everybody, we are all deciding that the implementation of Gadgil's report, which we rightly must do, and as I also told, now is the time that we need his report. The question
Mm,
to be answered will be the learned Amit Singh who put it down here with all his knowledge and wisdom and his
mm,
experience. He couldn't answer that person convincingly, even though his
mm.
life is at stake. Who that person who asked the question? So such questions, these we should have a very we should collectively get an answer so that it we should rhyme that answer. Such answers.
Very well, very well put. Very well put, Lubna. I think it's
Thank you.
indeed a serious question. Amit would not have had the time to take him through the entire process to be able to explain the situation, I'm sure. And beyond a certain point, Amit will himself confirm it becomes exasperating to be able to take the entire story back. That is why patience is required. And I think that is one of the biggest qualities that all of us have to cultivate to be able to engage with the people at large when such difficult questions come, which are even difficult. They are difficult to answer, but not impossible to answer. Let me put it that way, Lubna. There is an answer over there, and I mean that I don't know. I mean, I think we need to think out and have a separate session to be able to decide on how those answers have to be framed and conveyed. Back to you, Lubna.
Let me answer
Yes,
this
Sanjay, I
question very
think we would
briefly,
leave
if I
that
may.
open-ended rather than trying to conclude, because all questions do not have answers at that
Correct.
point of time. Given the narrative being loaded against us.
Sorry,
Let
Sagar,
me
you were
try.
saying something.
Let me try and answer this question very briefly. It's a very interesting question, and many people, in fact, have asked this question. We were able to do it in this recent book that we've written on the Wayanad disaster because you can see it there. You can't see it in most other cases where the interference with the local ecology is very evident, where the forest has been removed and the plantations have come in, and the plantations are not able to take that very heavy rainfall, which the forest could. And you can see the interference at the global level in terms of climate change. This link we were able to do in this Wayanad book, but this cannot be done, in a simple kind of a way in many other cases. However, of course, it can be done scientifically, but that is a more difficult proposition.
Acha. Can you share the link of this Wayanad book as well, Sagar, for the benefit of the people, or maybe, of course, you will share it on the group later on.
The book will
This
be
will be very interesting read to discuss as well.
English version will be available next month.
Okay.
Malayalam version has already been released and sold out last September.
Okay. What's the name of the book, Sagar?
Okay, the English version will have a different name. It has a Malayalam name for the Malayalam version.
Okay.
The English version will have a slightly different name. They haven't fixed the name.
So it's on the Kerala floods, essentially. It's on the crisis that happened last year.
2024 Wayanad disaster, which was predicted by 30 odd research papers, and it was predicted. In fact, it has been written about even in government documents and even in the landslide atlas. So what we are gunning for is massive compensation for each death, because this is a repetition of what government has done repeatedly in many cases, where that it has not acted according to what is called the doctrine of parens patrae. That is, I am your parent, which is the doctrine it used when it legislated the Bhopal Gas Act.
Okay.
So we are gunning for massive compensation against both government of Kerala as well as the union government.
Okay.
Sanjay, one thought on the Ecology as Equity book. The three categories of omnivores, ecosystem players, and the ecological refugees. Can we have different tax slabs or maybe incentives for the ecosystem providers and a heavy tax for omnivores, in the cities? So,
We are not the
something
policy makers, Chandral. I think we should leave it for a separate
but we can
discussion.
at least raise our
The
voice
suggestion,
to Yes. So it's just a
I suggest
suggestion,
you,
thinking aloud.
I suggest you put in
And
the point,
certainly we will be in power very soon.
and do join us at Sandeep Bhai's session at Merali Center and discuss these points.
No, I'm not making any false commitment. I'm not going to be there, but certainly in Delhi, we are trying to be in power very soon. So that's the update from my side.
All the best. All the best.
Thank you.
That's
Right,
a very
Saga?
brave thing to say. Very
Good.
optimistic. Yeah.
Chandra Vikas is like that.
And very
Knowing him.
provocative in his comments.
Knowing him as a junior from Kharagpur, I know.
I see.
He's always taken a big stance. Okay, there's always a cup between the lip and the slip between the cup and the lip that works in world and the life. So, Sagar, maybe if the soft copy is available or synopsis is available for us to understand, it'll